Hey, welcome back to Briefing with the Chief. This is a quick Chief's brief. I wanted to talk about crime and business, how they are interrelated. And to kick off this subject, we got a video of a CVS closing in Portland. Let's hear what they have to say.
And now to downtown Portland, where another business is leaving the Pioneer Courthouse Square area. The CVS Pharmacy, I should say, will soon be shuttering its location on Southwest Broadway. John Adams has been following this story for us today. And John, exactly when the store going to close?
Yeah, Tim, a CVS spokesperson told me March 5th will be the last day for this store here, right across the street from Pioneer Square. People I spoke to today who were going in and out of the store tell me they're frankly not surprised it's closing. It's hard to miss the abandoned storefronts and for lease signs near Pioneer Courthouse Square. The vacancies leaving the area around Portland's living room feeling rather empty. In less than 2 weeks, this CVS store will also be gone.
It'll be sad because I won't be able to come here and get my water and my supplies and whatever else we need.
People we spoke with weren't exactly shocked to hear the store is closing its doors.
I'm not surprised. And everything's locked up in there. Like, you want certain things, they're under lock and key. You're like, oh my God.
Similar problems cost the area one of its other retailers just a few years ago. In 2023, a Target store also left this part of town, citing crime and theft as reasons why.
Once you have more people just stealing from these stores, eventually it's just going to lead to them shutting down, because it's like, how can you run a business in those situations?
In a statement, a CVS spokesperson pointed to local market dynamics and population shifts as reasons for closing the store. It will continue to operate 9 other locations in Portland, including one in the Pearl District and one near Portland State University. Portland Downtown Clean and Safe calls the departure of CVS disappointing, but says in part, the overall trend is encouraging. About 50 new retail businesses opened downtown in 2025, up from roughly 39 in 2024. Foot traffic is also on the rise. However, others believe downtown still has a long road to recovery.
Downtown, you have to be careful because, it can be a little sketchy at times. We don't come out at night.
I don't know what the solution is, but yeah, it's an unfortunate situation all around.
Now, this comes on the heels of the Portland Metro Chamber releasing some sobering statistics about the central city. The group says the quarterly average of leased square footage space in 2025 was at its lowest point of all time, with the exception of 2020. Tim?
All right, John, thanks a lot for the report.
Okay, there you got it. Look, they're proving my premise right now. Let's see. Crime, everything's under lock and key. Petty theft is out of control. Remember, we reformed the petty theft laws around the country in many of our blue cities. It went from $400 for grand theft, or under $400 as a petty theft, to $950 in California, and a lot of other states and blue cities followed suit. And then they discouraged their cops from actually making arrests, and they defunded their cops. So what do they got? They got everything under lock and key at the CVS. I'm not surprised, given the theft and the crime. I mean, these are the things that the local residents are saying, right? So you can ignore what the politicians say. This is what the people who still live in the area and who are still in and around the area. Here's the one. I like how CVS says it, right? They say, well, local market dynamics have changed, right? What does that mean? Local market dynamics means a lot of theft and a change in population. That means nobody's going downtown. Nobody's going downtown. Let's look at the next headline, because it just reinforces what we're talking about. Metro Portland office vacancy rate hits a record 26.6% in the third quarter. And when you read through this article, it tells you that downtown, it's at 34%. So what do they mean by population? Population dynamics means nobody's coming downtown. Businesses are leaving downtown. This is the problem when you defund the police and you stop enforcing the law. It makes it really harder for people to make money, makes it really harder for businesses to make money. And, they haven't really stopped in Portland in terms of the defunding police. Let's look at this next headline. Portland counselors vote to use new police funding to maintain parks. So they're shifting police funding that they should be putting in downtown to make it safer, so businesses can open up and run a business there without being robbed blind to make sure that they cut the grass in the parks. Now, I don't have anything against parks. I love parks, but you know what? You have to prioritize law enforcement so that it's safe for people to walk around their own communities and it's safe for business owners to actually operate their businesses. So here and then what do you have to do if you don't do that? You have to put programs together that support business. We got another headline. Let's roll that headline too. Storefront support program would access challenges faced by Portland's small businesses. So, address challenges faced by small business. Well, the big challenge is crime. So what does that mean? You fund the police, you put people, you arrest people, you put people in prison. Here's after 38 years in law enforcement. Here's the deal. When I came to LA, crime was off the hook in the 80s and 90s. And in particular areas in South LA, it was really off the hook. And it was really hard to get business investment in South LA because of the crime. Now, it was a lot of gang violence related to the cocaine epidemic, but there was also theft from stores. They had what they called food deserts because they didn't have grocery stores in areas in downtown, and they were stuck going to little tiny uh, markets at elevated prices to get any of the basic essentials, or they had to drive far away. When we lowered crime, guess what rolled in? Investment rolled in. Supermarkets opened up, Starbucks opened up, other stores opened up. Guess what that brought? That brought hope. That brought jobs. That brought money to those communities. So those people who were starved for investment got investment. And then their political leaders decided to go to war with the police and decided that everything the cops did to lower crime, which brought in those investments and brought in hope, brought in those jobs, was bad. Everything they did was bad. So they went to war with their police. They defunded their police. They reformed all their laws. Crime returned. We saw businesses started closing in 2000. This isn't just a case in Portland. You saw it on the Magnificent Mile in Chicago. You've seen it I saw it. Some of those same areas that I policed that had gotten new businesses closed those businesses due to violence and theft. Like I said, the two are interrelated. Crime and good business. Reducing crime is good for business. By reducing the crime, people are willing to make an investment in the community. And once that investment is made in the community, that benefits everybody in the community because it brings hope and it brings jobs, it brings investments, it brings opportunities. When crime goes up, all that stuff goes away, as we're seeing in downtown Portland. And that is the Chief's brief for today. Thank you for joining me on Briefing with the Chief. Remember to like, follow, share, and all those other things on YouTube at Briefing with the Chief. You can catch me at Briefing with the Chief also on Facebook, and you can catch me on X at LESD Jordan. And now we're on Rumble, and hopefully soon we'll be on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all those other things. But catch me on X at LESD Jordan. And thank you for joining with this Brief on the Chief, and we'll see you next time.